If you've ever worked in Ableton Live's arrangement view, then you know how useful the loop brace is. I could select a section of my song, enable loop using Command L, press spacebar, and that song section is going to continue to loop until I stop it. Now, that's incredibly useful when you're in the studio producing or recording, and you need to correct maybe a missed drum hit or a chord that you got wrong on guitar, and you want to punch into that section, record that small bit, and then punch out and leave the rest of the section untouched. But it's not incredibly useful in a live performance setting where you want to just repeat a song section. Hey, this is Will Doggett, Ableton Live certified trainer, founder of From Studio to Stage. Today I want to show you how to create what I call a repeat track. The repeat track is going to allow you to repeat any section of your song at any time using one button on your MIDI controller, using a key on your keyboard. It's also going to allow you to repeat at any time in the section. You don't have to wait till the last bar to enable the repeat and repeat the section. And then finally, you can have as many loops and as many repeats as you want per song. So let's get started. All right, in order to make this happen, we're going to use the IAC driver. Now, this is the last part in our IAC driver tutorial series. If you haven't set up the IAC driver yet, you're not familiar with what it is, then make sure to check out the video below where I walk you through how to enable the IAC driver. If you're using a PC, I have linked to free options that you can install on your Windows PC that will allow you to do the same exact thing. But if you are using a Mac, we're going to use the IAC driver, which is available on every Mac for free to enable this, to make this happen. Now, in order for this to work, we need to enable the IAC driver. We need to make sure our song has locators. If you check out the song file I'm working with, you can see all my locators here. I've just named them per song sections, per the sections in my song. And I can really quickly get to them by double clicking to start a section, or I can click to a section previous or earlier in the song to jump back to it. So the downside to using locators though in arrangement view is as you go to drag your songs to build your set, they don't come with your song file. So that's why I use something called a markers track, which you can see the markers track that I have here in my file. Markers track is going to save my song section information, so I know exactly what each section's name is, so I know exactly what part is what, and then I actually have Ableton Live add locators for me automatically. Now, if you've never created a markers track before, then make sure to check out the tutorial I've linked below on how to create a markers track so you could save your song sections to your file. Now, with locators in my file, and in this case, I have my locators named. I typically don't do that. I typically just have the name in the markers track, and I just have a locator that would look like this. That's normally what my file looks like. I just happen to have these locators named because they're in the song file, not in a set. Okay, so we need to add a MIDI track. The shortcut to do that is Command-Shift-T or Control-Shift-T if you're on a PC. And then I'm going to rename my MIDI track using the rename shortcut, Command-R or Control-R. And we'll just rename that repeat. And then what I want to do is create a MIDI clip that's a measure long. So I'm going to just select this amount of space here and then do Command-Shift-M, or again, Control-Shift-M if you're on a PC. That's going to create a MIDI clip that's a measure long. If you're on Live 10, you could double click to create a MIDI clip that's going to match whatever measure length that you want. Or you could select your clip and go up to the Create menu and do Insert MIDI Clip to add your MIDI clip. Now, with our clip added, I need to add a MIDI note to this. All right, so I'm going to choose D# -2, double click to create my clip, and I'm just going to drag it to be the entire length of the clip. Now, just personal preference, I like it being the entire length of the clip, one measure, so that when I look at the note and I look at the clip, it looks like the note fills the clip. You can see that up here. That just kind of gives me a visual indication, okay, everything's good, everything's right. That's just personal preference though. So now with that note added, I'm going to go to the MIDI routings for this track, and I'm going to make sure to route this to the IAC driver, and I'm going to choose channel 1. I could use any channel I want, just make sure it doesn't interfere with any other routings you have or any other MIDI controllers you have connected to your computer. Now what I need to do to make this happen is assign this repeat clip to my previous locator button. The previous locator button is up here right below the add locator or delete locator button. So when I click this, it's going to jump me back to the previous locator. You could see I'm navigating the song this way. If I jump this way, it's going to jump me to the previous or the next locator. So I have previous and then I have next locators button. We want to assign it to the previous locator button. So what I'm going to do is do Command M or Control M if I'm on a PC. And you can see everything that's purple can be assigned to a MIDI controller, or in this case, a MIDI clip. So what I'm going to do is just jump back in my song a little bit. You just need to go a little bit before when your clip hits. Okay, I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to click the previous locator button, and you'll see that that's mapped to that clip. I'm going to press pause, Command M to get out of there. So now if I press play, and you're going to see this hits, it's going to jump me to the previous locator, which is just going to keep looping that over and over. Now, how do we practically put this into play? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this clip and I'm going to add this clip to the last measure of every single one of my song sections. The fastest way to do this that I found, unless you already have your repeat clips saved over in your browser, which I don't right now, I'm going to press minus to zoom out. Then I'm going to click on this clip and hold Alt Option. This is one of my favorite tricks. And when I do Alt Option and drag, it duplicates that clip. So what I'm going to do is just really quickly drag, and I'm going to add this to the end, again, the last measure of every single one of my song sections. It only takes about 10-20 seconds to do this, but you do it one time, it's saved with your song, and it gives you the ability to repeat any one of your song sections at any time. So let's go to section A here, and I'll show you exactly how this works. We'll let it play. You'll see once we get to that last measure, right, we jump back and we repeat. Perfect, right? That's exactly what we want to happen. Now, that's really useful. That's really great, but we probably don't want to repeat every single song section every time. So how do we enable and disable this? This is where we use key mapping or MIDI mapping again, but instead of mapping to a previous locator as we did before, we're going to map this to the on-off for our repeat track. So I'm going to do Command K again, or Control K if you're on a PC, and I'm going to press R for repeat. That's really easy for me to remember. Okay, so now I'm going to click on that on-off again, and I'm going to press just this button on my MIDI controller. So now I can control the repeat on-off from my MIDI controller. I'm going to hit Command M to get out of that. Now, by default, I want the default state of this track, I want it to be turned off. So I'm going to leave it turned off right now, and I'm going to play that song section A again, and let's listen. And you're going to hear it's just going to move right into section B, right? Perfect. Everything's great. I can press spacebar to stop my song. Now let's go back. Let's do that again. This time I'm going to press the button that I mapped on my MIDI controller. You could see that enables my repeat track. Again, one button. All I'm thinking is, do I want to repeat this? And it automatically repeats. If I want to close that down so it doesn't repeat again, I could press that button again to disable the repeat. Now, the beauty of this, again, is I have this set for every single song section, one. The other thing is I could be anywhere in the section, right? Press it. It's not going to happen immediately. And all I'm thinking about is just asking myself one question. Do I want to repeat the section I'm currently playing? I don't have to think, okay, I want to repeat this. Which verse is this? Let me find the verse on my MIDI controller. I just really simply think, do I want to repeat the section I'm on? If so, I press that button anytime in the section, right? The one thing I just have to be aware of, I have to enable it before the last measure of my song section. That's the only kind of caveat to that. Now, the other thing, again, because we have this set to every single song section, we could go anywhere in our song. Let's go back. Let's disable it for a second. Let's go back to this drum in section that we started this tutorial talking about using the loop brace. I'm going to enable this using my MIDI controller. You're going to see it's going to jump back again. Again, I can disable it now, and if I jump ahead in the song, it's going to play straight through that and go right into section A. Again, hands off, and I don't have to think about it. So using the IAC driver is one of my favorite ways to create a very hands-off, simplified Ableton Live tracks experience. So we talked about in all these tutorials, creating a stop track, creating a pause and go to next track, creating a repeat track. And the goal with all this is to make it hands-off and simple. You don't need tons of computers and a big rig and someone manning just tracks to have flexibility and freedom. You could do all that using a free utility format called the IAC driver, or using one of the free alternatives for Windows PC. Format your song and you have tons of flexibility. Now, if you want to learn even more about how to perform on stage with Ableton Live in a way that's efficient, stable, and flexible, then head to FromStudioToStage.com, where you could start a 7-day free trial that's going to give you access to every single course we have in the catalog on using the IAC driver with Ableton Live, using tracks with Ableton Live, using Ableton for keys, using Ableton to control all sorts of software for video, for lighting, all sorts of crazy things. But if you're in a band and you want to learn how to expand your skill set as a drummer, as a guitar player, as a music director, or if you're in a band and you want to learn how to take your performance to the next level, then again, head to FromStudioToStage.com, start the 7-day free trial. You can subscribe annually or monthly. If you're monthly, you can cancel at any time. That gives you access to every single course in the catalog, free access to our paid webinars that are normally $20. You get a monthly call, exclusive discounts, and so much more. So if you want to learn more about that, again, head to FromStudioToStage.com. Would love to see you there. And if I don't see you there, I'll see you next week here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're watching, as we talk about our next tutorial about how to use and perform on stage with Ableton Live. Take care, everybody. Bye.